You don't need to go to Niagara Falls when you can eat some Brian Balls.
What's going on, NASCAR diecast collectors and diecast reviewers on YouTube? This is Original Bri here. Welcome back to another NASCAR Authentics diecast review of Wave 4. And today we're reviewing another car that I just recently picked up from that wave at my Walmart. And it is going to be on a car that I have been waiting for a little bit, but kind of ironic they didn't do it to another driver. But I'll get into that very momentarily. But it's going to be on Daniel Suarez's 2018 Stanley Tools Toyota Camry for Joe Gibbs Racing. So yes, second time we got a Daniel Suarez car. Actually, I think this is the fourth time now because yeah, this is the fourth time that we got a Daniel Suarez car produced for NASCAR Authentics. So really cool, but first time that is not Aris, guys. Because remember, we had the two Aris cars from the Xfinity Series that were released from Wave 3, and then we had the Aris car from the 2017 for, I believe, what, like Wave 10 or Wave 11, one of those waves, because those two were pretty close to each other. But there's the rest of the wave, as we can see right there. Majority of them might look familiar because I might have reviewed some, hint hint. But yep, that's gonna do it on the packaging, guys. Very cool looking packaging that we got with the bright yellow. But without further ado, guys, we're going to take a closer look at this car, and we're going to look at the Daniel Suarez Stanley Tools car. Hey, buddy, we got this diecast out of its box, and before we go ahead and start this interesting review on this Bumblebee car, as I want to call it, we're going to go ahead and kick things back, and we're going to look at the little accessory that comes with this, and it is the rectangular magnet, guys. So, very, basic looking magnet that we got, but this does represent the paint scheme. However, though, the yellow is a lot more darker on this magnet than what it is on the actual car. So I find that pretty ironic. I mean, but then again, it's just a magnet, so I'm not going to complain, but definitely kind of interesting. But you see right there, we got Stanley, number 19, and there's the little portion of the Mexican flag with Daniel Suarez's name. And of course, this is a magnet, so yeah, that's really cool. Just glad it's not a sticker. I mean, heck, I'm glad we got those rectangular magnets and not those stickers for Wave 10 and 11. But back to the diecast, guys. You can see right there, the yellow definitely really pops up in this review. I mean, that's a good reason why I think the Stanley car is always a good favorite. If you look pretty closely, this car actually does have a little bit of a, kind of looks like a texture, just like the Trevor Bayne diecast I just reviewed as well. So that's really cool. Kind of makes the diecast kind of pop out. But a little interesting fun fact about this car is I'm showing you guys a little 360 view with that nice Toyota Camry mold. Absolutely amazing. I'm really liking it now. I didn't like the Toyota Camry mold at first, but after seeing it on Truex's car, and then I'm like, you know what, I can dig with this. But as you guys know, this car does not have the Subway sponsorship anymore. I mean, that's the thing of the past. So Suarez definitely is losing out on the sponsors. However, I do not see the Peak sponsorship on this car for some odd reason, because that is another sponsor that he has. I mean, we only see Aris and Coca-Cola and then Toyota, so I find that pretty ironic. But yeah, the Stanley car, guys, you can see they completely overhauled the paint scheme for this year. I think the only thing that kind of stayed the same was probably the hood, which was yellow. But everything else looks, relatively different. They kind of ditched that, that diagonal spike look that we've had even back then when Carl Leverage drove it for 2 years. So I'm kind of glad they changed the paint scheme, because every time I looked at the old Stanley scheme, it always reminded me of Carl Leverage. And I'm glad they changed the Aris car last year, and then they went back to the original car that Edwards drove. So it looks like they just did some role reversal right there. I mean, it's kind of the same crap that's going on with Eric Jones and Matt Kenseth. I feel like every time there's a new driver, they need to change the paint scheme up pretty differently, because, when you see the old Stanley car, it reminds you of Carl Edwards. And, same thing with Matt Kenseth and Eric Jones. I mean, but, it is what it is. But glad they decided to change this up. And they actually asked the fans on Twitter and Facebook, I think also on Instagram, to vote for the paint scheme, guys. I think there was like 2 different versions of the Stanley car, and whoever won this. There was nicknames for these paint schemes. I don't know what it was, but this is the one that won. And when I first looked at this, I'm like, it's really random. And I'm like, is that gray supposed to be black? But no, this is actually supposed to be gray. So they added gray to this paint scheme, which, I don't mind at all. I mean, I know I think I said something about it on my Diecast News episode, but now I look at it now, it's definitely different, and I don't mind it at all. I mean, they still got some black to it, but majority of the car is like half gray and the other is like half yellow. And, I really like this, especially the yellow, guys. The yellow is a lot more brighter than what we usually get for the Stanley cars. Almost reminds me of the yellow that we had with Marcus Ambrose. But speaking of the devil, guys, let's look at the diecast comparison. And you see right there, this is the Carl Leverage model from 2016. Of course, they never released that in NASCAR Authentics for some odd reason. So first time we're getting a Stanley car produced. I just find that pretty ironic, and that is kind of insulting for any Carl Everts fans, because you know, when Lionel bought NASCAR Authentics, they only made one Carl Everts car, which was his throwback car from 2016. And I'm just sitting there like, we didn't even got an Aris car or a Stanley car or not even a Subway. And yet Suarez has more diecast than Edwards did. I just had to take shots at Lionel for that. I just find that hilarious because, you know, Carl Everts, man, he's accomplished a lot. And Suarez, you know, I mean, it's only his second year, so I'm going to give him some credit. And before you guys are wondering, no, I'm not a Dan Suarez fan. I mean, yeah, I kind of followed him a little bit, especially when Carl Everts was mentoring him last year. But, you know, he's not really up there like my guys like Truex and Ryan Blaney. So unless Suarez decides to accomplish, you know, more than just that stage win that he got at Watkins Glen last year, then, you know, don't really have that much interest in him. I mean, I'm sure he's a cool guy, and apparently on Instagram I look like him when I grow my beard out. Well, I gotta thank Derek Lewis to that, because he's the one that said, "Oh, Brian, you look like Daniel Suarez." And I'm like, really? You guys don't need to know what I'm talking about. I could probably send you guys a link about it, or I'll just you know, tag my Instagram and you guys can look at that photo. Or even better, maybe I'll put the photo on here, depending on what kind of editing I want to do. But yeah, back to the diecast, guys. Clearly, one good thing about this improved paint scheme is that the yellow is a lot more brighter. We got like an actual yellow, and besides this dandelion yellow, which I didn't mind, but you guys know I really love bright paint schemes, so I'm glad they changed it as well. I mean, that's really cool they decided to change the paint scheme and also the color tone of the car, so really just stand out. I'm hoping Daniel Suarez is going to get a win eventually. I feel like a road course might be his best bet. Maybe Watkins Glen. I mean, I'm planning to go to that race, so if Suarez could pull off a miracle, man, that'd be pretty awesome, and I will not have second thoughts about what I've said recently on this diecast review. But, yeah, guys, that's, I think that's all mostly I got to say about this Daniel Suarez Stanley Tools Toyota Camry for Joe Gibbs Racing. So, if you guys enjoyed this review, and if you guys want more, feel free to hit that subscribe button and make sure to click that bell icon as well, so you guys stay up to date on all my latest NASCAR Authentics diecast reviews and many more. But until then, guys, this is Original Bit Bright. Thank you guys so much for watching. Comment, like, share, and I will catch you guys on another NASCAR Authentics diecast review.